All right, so now let's get into our grifting of America. Let me share my presentation with you. All right, so welcome. Tonight we're doing something different. No debate about whether this is happening. We have receipts. We're going to walk through 6 categories of documented corruption in the current Trump administration, drawn from court filings, financial disclosures, FCC records, congressional testimony, and investigative reporting. Our goal is not simply to be outraged. We already are. Our goal is to be able to talk about this clearly, calmly, and convincingly with people who aren't yet paying attention. So let's get started. First, crypto schemes launched from the Oval Office. The Trump meme coin. A meme coin is a currency with no underlying asset, technology, or business behind it. Its value is based entirely on hype and speculation. Unlike Bitcoin, which people treat as digital gold, or a stock, which represents ownership in a real company, a meme coin is worth exactly what people feel like it's worth at any given moment. The person who creates and launches it earns money from the initial sale and collects fees on every transaction afterward. So the creator profits whether the coin goes up or down. Everyone else is essentially gambling. Trump launched the Trump meme coin on January 17th, 2025, 3 days before his inauguration. The coin hit $73 at its peak before collapsing. By early 2026, it was trading at below $3. The Trump family earns a fee on every transaction. Estimated earnings are over $300 million. The family's total crypto ventures reportedly generated approximately $802 million in the first half of 2025 alone. In May of 2025, Trump hosted a black tie dinner for the 220 coin holders at his Virginia golf club. The top 25 investors spent over $111 million on the coin to earn their seats. The 25 biggest holders were promised a private VIP reception with the president. In April of 2026, a second gala was held at Mar-a-Lago, again limited to the top 297 holders. The announcement itself caused the coin's price to spike, meaning Trump profited from the announcement alone. Justin's son, who was charged by the SEC in 2023 for selling unregistered crypto, bought $18.6 million in Trump. In March 2026, the SEC dropped the case against him for a minor penalty. Foreign nationals, including Sun, attended the May 2025 dinner, raising ethics concerns. Put simply, if you want a meeting with the President of the United States, you buy his coin. This is a pay-to-play scheme operating out of the White House. World Liberty Financial and the USD1 stablecoin. A stablecoin is backed by an actual asset, US dollars in this case, in the sense that the token is created when an investor deposits US dollars into the stablecoin's reserves. These investments can be made anonymously. Much like a normal bank, the owners of the stablecoin, i.e., the Trump family and foreign interests, make money by investing the reserves. World Liberty Financial is co-founded by Trump's sons Don Jr. and Eric and the Witkoff brothers, sons of Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff. Their stablecoin USD1 has over 3.4 billion in circulation. 89% is held on Binance, an exchange which is under Senate investigation for allowing $1.7 billion to flow to Iranian proxies and Russia's shadow fleet. An Abu Dhabi-backed investment firm, MGX, used USD1 to settle a $2 billion investment in Binance, a foreign sovereign wealth fund routing hundreds of millions through a Trump family product. The Trump family runs a stablecoin that foreign governments are using for major financial transactions. While Trump controls every regulator who would normally police exactly this kind of arrangement. Drop in the chat one sentence on how you would explain the Trump meme coin to a family member who doesn't follow politics. What would you say to a family member? They might not understand what's going on in politics in general. They might not understand what a meme coin or a stable coin is. So, how would you start a conversation with them? I've said Trump makes money on every transactions of these, which is illegal. All right. If you want $1 trillion, then you will have a Bitcoin. It's a Ponzi scam. You're buying an idea, not anything worth value. Trump makes all the money. That's a great one, Susan. He started his own coin and makes money on every investor. Perfect, Michelle. There is no benefit to anyone other than the creator. The MAGA movement is the biggest grift in our country's history. That's a great opening line, Tian. All right. So next up, foreign governments pouring money into Trump properties. The emoluments problem. The Constitution's Foreign Emoluments Clause prohibits the president from accepting money or grifts from foreign governments without or gifts. That was a Freudian slip. Accepting money or gifts from foreign governments without congressional consent. This is the text of the Constitution, not a gray area. At least 8 foreign governments hosted or sponsored events at Trump properties in the first year of his second term. UAE-linked entities have been the most active. Saudi Arabia's Live Golf held a major tournament at Trump National Doral in April 2025, and his tournaments at Trump DC and Trump Bedminster are scheduled for 2026. A golf tournament at Trump's Aberdeen Golf Course in Scotland was sponsored by 3 foreign government-linked entities, the UAE's Emirates Airlines, DP World, owned by Dubai's Sovereign Wealth Fund, and a developer owned by the Abu Dhabi government directly. The Qatar Air Force One deal. The Qatari government, you'll probably remember this, gifted a Boeing 747-8 valued at roughly $400 million to the U.S. Air Force to be used as Air Force One for the rest of Trump's term. Ownership transfers to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation by January 1st, 2029. Refurbishment, which is paid by taxpayers, is estimated at $400 million to $1 billion to make it usable as Air Force One. In connection with the Qatari visit, Trump's business struck a deal to develop a golf course and luxury villas on Qatar's eastern coastline. A foreign government gave the president a $400 million jet. The president's private business received a development deal in that same country. This is precisely what the Emoluments Clause was written to prevent. The Saudi and UAE real estate explosion. Crew projects Trump could receive more than $400 million in foreign real estate income during his second term. At least 22 overseas developments are in progress, 5 announced since his inauguration. Trump's business partner on developments in Oman, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE Indar Global, the international subsidy of a Saudi company with reported government ties, which paid over $26 million in licensing fees to the Trump organization. In Oman, a Trump hotel and golf course is being built on government-owned land with a government tourism agency as a direct partner. Trump's first major foreign trip of his second term was to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, the precise 3 countries where his business has the deepest financial entanglements. Next, family members cutting deals. The UAE's $500 million World Liberty investment. 4 days before Trump's inauguration, a firm controlled by UAE senior official Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed, who oversees 1.5 trillion of the UAE's sovereign wealth fund, signed a $500 million deal with World Liberty Financial. The deal included 187 million in upfront payments to Trump family entities and gave the Sheikh's firm a 49% stake in the company. In March 2025, Sheikh Tanoon met with Trump and several high-ranking U.S. officials at the White House to discuss ways for the United States and UAE to increase our partnership for the advancing of our economic and technological futures, was his quote. On May 1st, 2025, it was announced that an investment firm run by Sheikh Tanoon would deposit $2 billion into World Liberty using the company's stablecoin USD1, which gave the fledgling company enough money to invest that it reportedly could generate tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue for the Trump family and its partners. 2 weeks later, the U.S. signed an agreement with the UAE allowing access to American-made AI computing chips. Access to these advanced and scarce chips, which are made by American companies and highly coveted by other countries, requires the U.S. government's permission. The UAE was reportedly the first foreign country to finalize an agreement to buy the chips. Pentagon deals for family-backed companies. Vulcan Elements, a rare earth magnet startup with 30 employees, received a $600 million federal commitment, the largest loan ever issued by the Pentagon's Office of Strategic Capital. Don Jr.'s VC firm, 1789 Capital, invested just 3 months before the money was awarded, with no competitive process on record. At least 4 companies in the 1789 Capital portfolio received government awards in 2025, totaling more than $735 million. House Republicans blocked a Democratic subpoena of Don Jr. to testify about this under oath. The same members who spent 2 years and millions of dollars investigating Hunter Biden on the same theory. The U.S. Air Force signed a weapons procurement deal in April 2026 for Powerus interceptor drones, the company's first military weapons contract. Former Bush White House ethics lawyer Richard Painter called the arrangement a serious conflict of interest. These would have been career-ending scandals in any previous administration, Republican or Democrat. Imagine if Obama had done just one of these things. Imagine if Hunter Biden's investment firm received a $600 million Pentagon loan 3 months after investing in a 30-employee startup. Drop in the chat, which of these deals do you think would land best when talking to a moderate or right-leaning friend or family member, and why? So she plans to ask her brother, have you heard of the emoluments clause in the Constitution? You might want to read it and compare how much Hunter Biden received compared to Donald Trump and his family. Beth said they don't care. Jeannie said horrifyingly. Oh,
Um,
I lost it.
Tiffany, I didn't want to say that that's what they're doing. I was just saying that it's possible that they're investing some of our retirement funds into these house of cards. But I didn't want to make it seem like that's what they
Okay.
were doing. I'm sorry.
Sure. That's okay. Susan said, I think the Don Jr. one because it's simple and easy to fact check. Good point. The Pentagon deal for Jr. easiest to understand. You're right. Hunter Biden doing these deals, he will not get away with it, but Trump can get away with it. And Bonnie said right-leaning family members would ask where the data came from. They would think it was made up. Well, good news. I'm going to put a bunch of links in the chat at the end of this presentation. I'm also going to email them to you in a follow-up email next week so you can show them the receipt.
Can I please get this in an email? Like, you can
Yep.
send the email.
We're going to send it to everyone in an email.
Okay.
If you don't already receive our emails, I'll put the subscribe link in the chat again at the end.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome. All right, next up, bribery in exchange for political favors. The White House ballroom as a bribe collection vehicle. As of October 2025, $350 million have been collected from donors for a ballroom to be constructed on the site of the demolished White House East Wing. Many donors received documented political favors in close proximity to their donations. Coinbase donated after the SEC dropped a civil enforcement action against the company. Ripple donated after the SEC returned $75 million of a prior fine that they had paid. The Winklevoss brothers, Gemini, donated after the SEC dropped an investigation into their unregistered securities sales. Extremity Care donated $2.5 million after the administration delayed limits on Medicare coverage of their products. ArcelorMittal, a foreign steel company, donated $37 million in steel. 2 days later, the White House issued a targeted tariff carve-out benefiting ArcelorMittal specifically. Congressional Republicans then attempted to appropriate $1 billion in our taxpayer money for the same ballroom, suggesting Trump intends to keep the private donations as personal enrichment. Paramount lawsuit settlement. Trump sued CBS's 60 Minutes for $20 billion over an edited Kamala Harris interview. Legal experts called the suit frivolous. Paramount settled for $16 million, most of it going to Trump's presidential library fund. About 3 weeks later, Trump's FCC approved Paramount's $8 billion merger with Skydance Media, which required government approval because CBS holds federally licensed broadcast stations, giving Trump direct leverage through the litigation. Basically, Trump filed a lawsuit against the media company, extracted $16 million from his, and his FCC then approved a merger that the company needed. The leverage was structural from day one. Insider trading, a documented pattern. Here's what you need to know about how this works. When the president announces something big, a ceasefire, a change in trade policy, a decision not to bomb something, markets move. Oil prices, stock prices, all of it shifts within seconds of the news. And if you knew the announcement was coming, you could place a bet right beforehand and make a fortune. That's insider trading. It's illegal, and there's a documented pattern of it happening minutes before Trump's announcements. In April of 2025, moments before Trump announced he was pausing his own tariffs, traders placed huge bets that the stock market would surge. The market surged 9.5%, and those traders made millions. March 23rd, 2026. About 15 minutes before the White House announced it was holding off on strikes against Iran's energy infrastructure, traders placed roughly 500 million in bets that oil prices would drop. When the threat of conflict decreases, oil prices drop. They dropped. April 7, 2026. Hours before Trump announced a 2-week ceasefire with Iran, someone placed nearly $1 billion in bets on falling oil prices, and oil prices fell. On April 17th, about 20 minutes before Iran announced the Strait of Hormuz was reopening, which immediately lowered oil prices, traders placed roughly 760 million betting exactly that would happen. The Senate Banking Committee has formally asked federal regulators to investigate, noting that the precise timing of major developments has been accurately predicted over and over again. This is not one suspicious trade. It's a documented recurring pattern across oil futures, equity options, and prediction markets, always moving in the right direction, always minutes or hours before a major presidential announcement. To put it simply, someone kept betting on the right horse right before the race was called. Not once, but at least 5 times for hundreds of millions of dollars each time. Either they are the luckiest traders in human history, or someone with access to presidential decisions was tipping them off. Does your senator or representative sit on a committee with oversight over the Treasury, DOJ, or FCC? Now's the time to find out. Drop your answer in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'll pull up a link to find out what committee they might be on. All right, so I would look up your members here, and then it will tell you what committees they're on. I'm just going to jump into the middle of the comments because I got lost when I dropped that link. There are only 6 news reporting owners, Michelle said. Terry said it's part of the Constitution that forbids grifts. Oh, we're looking at the wrong answers. All right. We'll go ahead and look up your members of Congress there, and then next time you'll know the answer to whether they are on a committee with oversight over the Treasury, DOJ, or FCC. Next up, the sale of Venezuelan crude oil after the illegal capture of President Nicolas Maduro. John Addison, a senior trader at the oil trading company Vitol, contributed over $6 million to Trump-aligned committees between July and October of 2024, including $5 million to Make America Great Again, Inc., $550,000 to Trump 47 Committee, and $500,000 to Turnout for America. In January 2026, the U.S. Captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, which was an extraordinary and legally contested action under international law. Days later, the Trump administration began facilitating the sale of Venezuelan crude oil. One of the first deals, worth approximately $250 million, went to Vitol, the same company whose senior trader had donated $6 million to Trump's election. Addison attended a White House meeting with Trump shortly before that deal was finalized. Next up, not a settlement, the IRS dismissal and the $1.776 billion executive power grab. So here's what actually happened step by step. On January 29th this year, Trump filed a $10 billion civil lawsuit against the IRS and Treasury in Miami federal court on behalf of himself, his sons, Don Jr. and Eric, and the Trump Organization. The basis, a former contractor, Charles Littlejohn, had leaked his tax returns. Littlejohn had already pleaded guilty and was serving a 5-year prison sentence before Trump filed the suit. The presiding judge, U.S. District Judge Kathleen M. Williams, quickly identified a fundamental constitutional problem. Trump was suing federal agencies that he, as president, directly controls. She wrote that because President Trump's own remarks about this matter acknowledge the unique dynamic of this litigation, it was unclear to this court whether the parties are sufficiently adverse to each other to satisfy Article 3's case or controversy requirement, a basic constitutional prerequisite for any federal lawsuit. Basically, this means that the parties in a lawsuit have to be at odds with each other. They can't be on the same side. So Judge Williams ordered both sides to file briefs on May 20th, explaining how the case could legally proceed. She also appointed outside attorneys to weigh in on the ethics and legality of the suit. On May 18th, 2 days before that deadline, and on the same day, 93 members of Congress filed a brief calling the suit an unconstitutional collusive action. Trump's lawyers filed a 3-page notice of voluntary dismissal under a federal rule of civil procedure that allows a plaintiff to unilaterally walk away from a case if the defendant has not yet filed a formal answer. It's self-executing, meaning it terminated the lawsuit the moment it was filed, with no judge's approval and no consent from any other party. Simultaneously, Attorney General Todd Blanche issued an administrative order creating the $1.776 billion anti-weaponization fund using our tax dollars, a purely executive branch action with no court involvement. The fund draws from the Treasury's Judgment Fund, a perpetual congressional appropriation normally used to pay actual court judgments, repurposed here without any new vote from Congress. What the judge actually said and why it matters. Judge Williams closed the case but wrote critically in her order, because the notice does not reference any settlement or include a stipulation of settlement, there is no settlement of record. She also admonished the DOJ, which is supposed to be independent, for failing to file any documents ensuring that the settlement was appropriate where there was an outstanding question as to whether an actual case or controversy existed. One legal analyst reviewing the docket wrote, their plan was clearly to produce a settlement agreement and then dismiss their case. Instead, what they apparently did is dismiss their case and then produce their settlement agreement. There is simply no settlement agreement on file. The Bloomberg headline captured it precisely. Judge in Trump IRS suit questions settlement while closing the case. The audit ban addendum. On May 19th, 2026, AG Blanche signed an addendum declaring the IRS forever barred and precluded from pursuing any currently pending audits of Trump, his family, associates, and their businesses. Among those pending audits, a years-long dispute over a disputed write-off on Trump's Chicago skyscraper that could have resulted in a tax bill exceeding $100 million. That potential liability is now permanently extinguished. PolitiFact confirmed a new federal agency says past tax filings by President Donald Trump cannot be audited. This is unprecedented and would be hard to reverse. A former IRS commissioner called it a dangerous precedent. Why calling it a settlement lets them off the hook? A settlement would imply judicial oversight, a neutral process, and legal legitimacy. What actually happened is the opposite of that, even though the media continues to report it as a settlement. There was no judge involved in approving or reviewing the arrangement, no court record of any agreement whatsoever. The judge said so explicitly. The adversarial process. The judge was about to rule the case couldn't even proceed because Trump was on both sides. The congressional appropriation. The $1.776 billion comes from repurposing an existing Treasury fund without approval from Congress. No legal constraint on who can receive money from the fund. A 5-member commission, all appointed by Trump's AG, decides. The lawsuit was used as legal sounding cover. The moment a judge was about to scrutinize it, it was pulled. The $1.776 billion fund and the audit ban exist entirely outside any court's authority. They are executive orders dressed up in language of litigation to look more legitimate than they are. Sorry, one is an administrative order. The sitting president filed a lawsuit against the government he controls, walked it out of the court the moment a judge was about to question its legitimacy, created a $1.776 billion slush fund by administrative order, with no judicial or congressional authorization, and simultaneously erased a $100 million tax bill that was actively pending against him. The judge confirmed in writing, there is no settlement. There is no court oversight. There is no check on any of this. So I have an honorable mention section that I didn't have time to create a slide for. This is on Elon Musk and the Doge self-dealing. Musk spent nearly $300 million electing Trump, mostly through the super PAC America PAC, then was appointed to lead Doge, which was a government role he used to direct federal resources toward his own companies. White House staff directed the GSA to contract with xAI, Musk's AI startup, to incorporate the Grok chatbot into federal contracting services. The US government encouraged foreign nations to make deals with Starlink, Musk's satellite company, during tariff negotiation calls, using diplomatic leverage to steer business to a private company owned by a private advisor. In March 2026, Musk joined a call between Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi, a private citizen participating in a presidential diplomatic call. Musk has publicly stated he is pursuing India as a key market for Tesla and SpaceX. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick publicly encouraged Americans to buy Tesla stock, potentially violating federal ethics rules barring executive branch officials from promoting private enterprises. So a private citizen spent $300 million to install his preferred president, was given a government position, and used it to steer federal contracts and diplomatic leverage to his own companies. That is the definition of purchasing a government. Now, none of what we covered tonight is speculation or opinion. It's court filings, a federal judge's own written words, financial disclosures, FCC records, Senate committee letters, and on-the-record investigative reporting. The pattern is consistent across every section. Every lever of government is being used to enrich the president, his family, and the people who paid him to put him in power. Our job is to document it, share it precisely, and keep pressure on every elected official who remains silent. So let's open it up to questions.
Demetrius asked, what is the best practice for regulating Bitcoin?
Best practice for regulating Bitcoin. At this point, I believe it's to take back the House and Senate and pass legislation to do that.
Sherry asked if we'll be able to get the slides from the presentation emailed to them.
Yes, I'll include a link to the slides in the email that I send next week.
So is the whole world liberty thing Shiite buying AI chips?
And then the whole world liberty.
Into buying AI chips? Was it to be able to buy AI chips?
I believe so. Give me a minute. Let me go back to that information. Yes, I believe it was.
How do we change our investments so they aren't pro-Trump?
If you work with an investment firm or a financial advisor, you can ask them to do that. If you want to do your own research to make sure it gets done properly, find out where your funds are invested, and then look up those companies. I know I've said this before and it's controversial, but AI is good for research as long as you verify the information. I had some great help from Ken on tonight's presentation, researching on his own and then verifying some AI generated information.
Steffi asks, is there any gold left in Fort Knox?
I don't know. I think some podcasters want to investigate, so I'm not sure on that one.
We need proof.
Yeah, I agree.
It is endless. How do we stop it? We need a new toolbox.
I agree. There's definitely a need to work on new strategies. And this all goes back to electing the right people to the Senate and the House. And then in 2028, of course, the president. And the primaries in Colorado are coming up on June 30th. If you don't know when your primary is in your state, definitely look it up tonight. Research the candidates and find out who the best person for the job is. In Colorado, Solidarity Warriors supports Julie Gonzalez, who's running against Hickenlooper for the Senate, and Phil Weiser, who's running for governor against Michael Bennett. Oh, Stephanie, good one. Check your voter registration.
She also asked, what can we do to stop this from future administrations being able to enrich so corruptly? That's good.
Yeah, the best thing is just put new laws in place and hope that our judiciary independence keeps holding. And you can donate to organizations like the ACLU and Public Citizen, who are the ones who are filing all the lawsuits to enforce these things.
And don't elect any more movie stars, reality stars, TV stars.
Yeah.
Reagan was a nightmare, and this is what we got from that. So,
And keep in mind, you want to find out if the candidates who are running are business centric. Do they always vote in the interest of business and not with the interest of the people? That's our problem with Jared Polis, not to mention the Tina Peters thing. That's our problem with Hickenlooper and Bennett as well. And here's a link to check your voter registration in Colorado.
it's
What's
very
next?
important to check it quite often.
Yes, because and in your state, just look up check voter registration and the name of your state. It doesn't happen as much in Colorado, but definitely in some red states, they will remove people from the voter rolls quite often or without really knowing who they're removing or purposely to remove people who aren't going to vote their way. They make up ridiculous reasons for doing it. They screw it up, and then your voter registration could get removed from the voter rolls, and you have to re-register. And there are deadlines to register before an election, so make sure you keep checking it.
Well, I know my own was switched. It no longer said that who I was voting for. It just put me as independent. So I didn't
Interesting.
get a vote in the primary for any of the elections.
That's terrible. I at one point I switched mine to unaffiliated, I think is what we call it in Colorado, because I wanted to vote in the Republican primary, I think was the purpose, to screw with it somehow. But then I forgot to switch it back and I got nominated to be a precinct organizer for my local Democrats. And when you have to be registered as a Democrat to be a precinct organizer for the Democrats. And so when they checked my voter registration, they called me and almost in a whisper, they were like, "You're not registered as a Democrat." And so I had to go fix it.
All right, Jeannie asked, do we have any justifications for Polis letting Tina Peters off so lightly?
Absolutely not. He says he did it because he thought her sentence was too harsh. But all sorts of Democratic organizations have barred him from any future honors or appearing at any of their events. I believe all of the Colorado legislators who are Democrats admonished him for doing it. So no one supported it. Susan said he did it for self-interest. What do you mean by that?
I have to unmute.
That's okay.
I get started on this and I can't even stand it. My understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Jared Polis is an extremely wealthy man and he always has been, but he's more a libertarian. And so I actually get worked up when people call him a Democrat because he's not. He's a libertarian. But if anyone who's been watching him his entire time in office, he's very he's a good politician if because he knows how to do it slyly, but he has sided with Republican interests many times in this state, many times with guns, with housing policies, with all kinds of things. And so, in my mind, I truly believe, well, first of all, I think he's going to use justifications. He's going to say, well, we got all our funding for this and that because I did this. But I think it's because he knows that he's going to be out of the government soon. And all of these guys he wants to play ball with are playing ball with Trump. And he felt he had to be one of the guys in the game. And I truly believe that. I think that where he ends up after office will very much show us why he made this decision. I truly believe that. And I could be completely wrong, but it's absolutely what I believe.
I think that's a really good point. He's always sided with business interests over Coloradoans. He vetoed the Worker Protection Act last year, and I honestly don't know if he's done that again this year. I think there might still be time to put pressure on him. But that is the act that would have made it easier to form a union in Colorado and put us on the same playing field as other states. We're the only state that has this ridiculous restriction on forming a union. Terry?
Yeah. Okay. So just going backwards, we're not the only state. We may be the only blue state, but Texas doesn't allow. A lot of other states don't. Red states, anyways. And going backwards, he was censured by the Democratic Party, which means he's not allowed to speak at Democratic events. I don't know for how long, but maybe forever. Who knows? He showed up at one today or yesterday wearing tape on his mouth. And I absolutely agree. Somebody probably in Trump's circle gave him a deal. That's my guess. And if he gets a lot richer in the next couple of years, we'll know why. So anyway, that's
Yeah,
me.
thank you for that. What I meant about the Worker Protection Act is that in Colorado, after the workers vote with 50% or more to approve the formation of a union, they have to have a second vote where 75% of the workers have to vote to allow dues to be collected for the union. And without that,
I know.
unions are almost helpless.
Right. Okay. So nobody else has that because they don't even allow unions in some states, pretty much. But anyway,
yeah, the groups that were backing the legislation told me that.
okay, yeah, I know I was helping organize a union once, and it is difficult
Yeah,
because of that. So
absolutely.
That's really all I have.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. The person whose name shows up as an iPad said, be aware of MAGA and Democrat clothing or affiliation run by PACs that sound left but are right wing. There are a lot, like I said, of ballot initiatives that could end up on the ballot this year in Colorado that are gathering signatures and funded by out-of-state right-leaning organizations or businesses. But yes, there are actual candidates who are maybe dark money candidates or actually backed by Republicans who are running as Democrats. So make sure you do your research.
I heard that most of the ones on the ballot are not by like regular people of the state or anything.
That
yeah, be careful.
Yeah, you got it. So all of the ones that have already qualified for the ballot are ones that you definitely want to vote against, and at least some of them are backed by the out-of-state groups. And I saw some of them the um, at Cinco de Mayo. We were there, and there was someone gathering signatures for a petition, and she explained it. I think it was something about reintroducing or taking care of wildlife or something in Colorado. And I asked her for the initiative number, and it was actually the initiative to, I think, ban transgender care for minors in Colorado. So ask them for the initiative number, Google it on your phone before you sign it, because she even had a cover sheet on it that was the fake thing that she was saying. All right, folks. Well, it looks like we finished early. Did anyone else want to add anything? Oh, it looks like there might be a couple more questions. I see from Michelle, what's the best place to go to get the skinny on Dems running in primaries? District 8 has two candidates running to replace Evans, and they both bash each other. You can start with Ballotopedia, I think is how you say it. But then I would just do your own research and keep an eye out, maybe subscribe to mailing list of progressive organizations and see what they say. And here's the link for Ballotopedia. Sadie said, can you turn someone in for lying about collecting signatures fraudulently? Yes, I believe the person you would contact is the Secretary of State. You can just Google SOS Colorado. Did you see any other questions, Sean? Susan said, how do you feel about Jenna Griswold? Michael Doherty is also running. We don't have an official stance on that one. Michael Doherty did give a presentation in our meeting, specifically. Oh, no, I think you guys have those mixed up. So is Michael Doherty running for Attorney General? I thought he was running for Secretary of State. Am I wrong on that? Oh, he's running for Attorney General. Okay. But yeah, he gave a presentation, Know Your Rights ICE presentation to our group. So he is one of the candidates we've had who actually spoke about something else and not just running for office. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wanted to touch on the midterms. We need to get, solid people, progressives into office. But the reason we need to get them into office is for 2028, when we have somebody who can lead these people, get laws passed, whatever. And I think we need to really start having a serious conversation about how we, as indivisible, different groups, can make that happen without the DNC giving us a line of candidates to choose from. We know exactly what's going on. We know that everything has to do with injustice. We can see through the cracks. I think that this round we have 2 years and 5 months from today to choose who we want to run for president. And these midterms won't matter if we don't have somebody leading the pack. And when I look at everybody that stuck their neck out so far, none of them qualify. This is just the status quo. We cannot go back to normal. Normal is what got us here. So I think it's time for us to have a serious conversation about what we can do individually and as indivisible to put somebody forward who we believe in. And not, nobody, like, it's got to be a normal person. It can't be somebody that's coming from PAC money, billionaires, Israel lobby, whatever. It's got to be a normal person.
Aaron, I'm gonna put that on our list of topics to talk about, so we can delve into that. I appreciate that.
And I think Aaron also looking at the Working Families Party, a lot of their candidates they endorse usually aren't taking PAC money. They're not taking. They're small donors, people like you and me.
Yeah, Working Families is a great group. There are also local Working Families chapters, so check out their website, and I think you can find your local chapter. I'll drop that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm part of that and all that, but I mean, we have to have somebody that on day one, says that there has to be accountability. We'll do it on day one. Take his name off of everything. There's simple things we can do on day one, like handcuffs are possible. Laws have been broken, but if we have somebody like Gavin Newsom, it will not happen. This guy is an egotistical maniac. Most of the people running are. We have to find
Yeah,
somebody within our ranks.
I agree, Aaron. And definitely don't take the DNC's recommendations, because we see how the establishment Democrats have been doing.
Thank you
Separate
guys so
US
much.
Peak.
Thanks, Aaron. What was that, Sean?
Separate USA from Trump Inc.
How do we? Is that what you
No,
said?
no, that's
Oh,
just what she said.
yeah.
And
All
that will
right.
be the simplest thing to do in all of this. Like, separating that is nothing. What do we do after that?
Yeah, getting Trump out of office is just the first step. He's made so many horrific changes, and installed so many loyalists, that it's going to take a long time to fix this, but we're in it for the long haul. Anyone else?
Yes, I have put in there, I've been hearing this, our DNC chairperson, Ken Martin, is not really helping the Democratic Party. Is there anything that we can do to get him out?
Ken Martin is doing a shit job. He lied about the 2024 election post-mortem, which is supposed to be an evaluation of what went wrong and how to do it better next time. He made up all sorts of excuses about why they weren't releasing it. And then when he finally was forced to release it, it was terrible. It didn't answer any questions. It didn't even look into Palestine or other like major issues that influence the 2024 election. But yes, in general, not doing a great job. So how do we get rid of him? That I don't know. I believe he is voted for by a committee, but we can continue to make our voices heard. The more noise there is publicly, the more likely it is that he would get voted out.
Become
He
a
is
precinct officer in your own district. It is very easy to do. Then you can vote in your convention in your state, and then you can affect these people. Do it. It is
Thank
easy.
you. Very good point.
Yeah, Jasmine Crockett would be good for chairperson.
You would. You're right.
and Susan's right. Getting rid of Schumer would be a good too.
Most of the politics is run outside of the DNC now. I mean, most campaigns are. That was a thing that Obama did, and it kind of hurt the DNC in some ways. I mean, in terms of having something that's centralized that gets voting together and things like that. Some of it was necessary. So a lot of things are done outside of the DNC, so they don't have that much power anymore.
They definitely have more influence in the presidential election. So that's the one, like Aaron said, we need to look for our own candidate.
Yeah, but like Obama went completely outside of them. So, and really I mean, the guy who's the head of it is bad, but he'll probably not go for somebody like he won't do a Hillary Clinton thing like they did before with Wasserman and everything. He's not going to do that because he is more left than that. But he's running it badly. I agree.
I've just got to say that Barack Obama was put up there on his speech by the DNC, like I think it was a response or something. But anyway, that he was put on the national stage by the DNC. And I love Obama. I'm not trying to talk, but these are all these people.
Yeah,
are
what I'm saying
presented
is he was a really good politician and he ran a case and he ran against I mean, he did a lot of things wrong, but he was a really good politician and he sort of broke the DNC in a way. And so the DNC doesn't have the same kind of power it used to have. And one of the things that's bad is like people like Schumer. He's been arranging for a lot of the senators, and he tends to pick bad people, or not people that are the most popular too in that state. So there's a lot of different parts to this Democratic Party because it's such a mishmash of, that one guy said that I don't belong to any organized party. I'm a Democrat. Will Rogers, I think, So, but that's true.
I heard a great quote today that said the Democrat Party has a whole lot of branches right now and no trunk. And I think that's something we all need to think about. What is our base?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think much of Jeffries either.
Team
Hell no.
Jeffries.
We'll
Yeah.
probably be able
Hell
to get rid
no.
of Schumer, but maybe not Jeffries yet. We can work
I
on
used,
him.
I used to love
He might.
Jeffries. I used to love him. And then it was like he got into that office and you started seeing that he's just like the rest of them. He's got special interests. And he's catering to them. I was shocked, and it's stupid to be shocked at this point over anything, but he has been the saddest disappointment for me.
And he loves
Yeah.
APAC.
He
He talks about it all the
he
time. He loves it.
yeah. He has to raise massive amounts of money for people to run. That's his main job. Along with getting votes together. So if we could get rid of the money, and there's ways people are working on that, then they wouldn't be getting caught up in all of that. They could actually do their job, So if we can get the money out, that really kind of, they've
Yeah,
got to be huge fundraisers.
but
Yeah.
I kind of don't buy into that 100% because I'm not a huge, or I was never a huge Nancy Pelosi fan per se. But I never felt, I mean, she was is just like any other politician, but I never saw it as obvious with her as I feel like it is with Schumer and Jeffries. Like, I just never, whenever she was speaking about a subject, and that she believed what she was saying. And I think
Yeah.
they open their mouths and they don't
Yeah.
even
And she
believe
was,
it half the time.
she got the ACA passed and stuff like that. So I don't take too many complaints about her. I'll take, the people in her area don't like her much anymore, but she's, she's probably the best ever. So, but yeah, I agree with you. She did talk directly about what she felt about things.
And I agree that if we get money out of politics, that will help a lot. Our federal elected officials spend a ridiculous percentage of their time fundraising instead of working on what they should be on their jobs.
And I was just wondering about this Fetterman. I mean, he's not good for the Democrats either.
No, he's not, and Pennsylvania needs to deal with him now.
I
From what I
hope
can tell,
AOC
he's on
primary
his way out.
Schumer.
Yeah. From what I can tell, he's Fetterman from Pennsylvania. People is Fetterman. They're really mad at him, just as mad as we are at Polis or more. So he's not gonna be able to run again, or he'll lose.
All right. What else?
Hey, Tiffany, what's the word? If we get rid of the blank, we can do a simple majority in the Congress.
Filibuster?
It starts with
Yeah.
F. Yeah, filibuster. Yeah. Okay. So if we get one of the first things that has to happen with the new Congress is to get rid of the filibuster and pass the Voting Rights Act, and then getting dark money out of politics. Those are the two things that can happen right now that will change the spectrum. Nothing else will. But the filibuster has to go. And people like John Fetterman, and before him, what was his name? That had the yacht out on the East Coast. Yeah, Mannion.
and
Joe
that little
Joe
girl
Manchin.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Arizona,
Actually,
Samina.
just as important would be to expand the court, because the court will really gut anything we put up, anything we pass.
Yes,
So
and
if
that
you're
has to be
expanding the court, that only has to be a simple majority.
right,
So
but that's gonna have to go to 13 immediately because there's 6 and he's gonna replace 2. And that has to go to 13. It can't be. I've heard
right. Well,
liberal
yeah,
justices.
whatever number they pick. I mean,
No.
Ellie
It's not
Muswell
whatever.
said,
Listen.
you
It's
know.
not whatever number. 11 doesn't do it.
No,
There are
no, no, no.
6.
I understand. It's got to be a certain number to work, but we know that. But it's a matter of the first step is to get them to go there, and that's been a hard thing. But they have to go there right away because they will not allow a new Voting Rights Act or whatever. They'll just keep kiboshing everything. They're so corrupt.
You all have a great night.